All right, what is going on, everybody? I am back from my weekend break. We had a lot of NBA playoff basketball happen. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Nuggets versus Clippers game 7, Warriors versus Rockets game 7, Pacers and Cleveland game number 1 of the semifinals, and we're going to go over the bracket as we always do in these playoff videos. If you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have an opinion, comment them down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. I think this is gonna be a shorter one. I always jinx myself when I say that, but I'm saying it nonetheless. I did a little bit of a preview last time on Friday when we had some of these matchups, but now we have a lot of these matchups confirmed. I'm gonna I'm gonna revise some of my predictions. This will be the first half of this video. Will be the predictions half. Um, and then we'll work our way backwards to how we got here. And obviously, like I said, we'll talk about Cleveland versus Pacers, game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals soon. So let's start in the West. Nuggets versus Thunder, the 1-4 matchup. I'm just gonna come out and say it right here at the top. I think all of these series that I'm gonna talk about here are gonna at least be 6-7 games. I think this is gonna be one of the longest um, sections of the playoffs because these teams that are left remaining are really they're really in contention. These are the big players. These final was this 8 teams are the real contenders. And I mean the only real outlier to me, and we'll talk about them a little bit more towards the end of the video, is the Pacers. I don't see them as championship contenders, but they've surprised the hell out of me. Nevertheless, Nuggets, Thunder. My main thing about this matchup is the Nuggets have just been through a 7 game series, right? And they're champion, they're championship winners. They've won the championship before. They know what it's like to go through this grueling playoff run. The Thunder got it pretty easy in the first round, as you want to do when you pursue the number 1 seed all year. You want to be number 1. You want to play the worst team in your conference. They played the Grizzlies in the first round. They swept them 4-0. You got a lot of rest. This Thunder team has been waiting for like what, a week and a half now, and they play May 5th today. They play today. So my only concern for the Thunder is that one, they don't they don't have the experience to take on this Nuggets team. This is like again, this Nuggets team has just been through a 7 game series. They've won the championship in the past. They know what it's like to really grind it out. And this Thunder team, though very young, has been in some grinded out games, but they haven't been in these situations before. My other concern with the Thunder is who's going to guard Nikola Jokic for on the Nuggets, 3-time MVP. Who's going to guard him besides Isaiah Hartenstein for the Thunder? Because I do not trust Chet Holmgren to guard Nikola Jokic. Chet is just way too thin. It's going to be, if Isaiah Hartenstein gets in foul trouble or anything, it's going to be a defense by committee situation. They're going to have to double, triple team Jokic, and Jokic feeds off of that. I think Jokic's best games are when he doesn't have to score. When he has like 20 points, 20 assists, 20 rebounds, which sounds crazy, but that's just normal business for Nikola Jokic. I think that's when he's at his best. When he has to score 50, 40, that's when you know the team is struggling. Um, but I think this Nuggets team, throughout the course of the 7 game series that they just played against the Clippers, they really proved me wrong. I thought the Clippers were the better team to play the Thunder, and I thought the Nuggets would kind of obviously not roll over against the Clippers, and the Clippers would go on to play the Thunder. Um, they almost did. The Clippers had a chance to do it. They didn't. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this Nuggets team is really grizzled. They're really the switch flipped for them, and this happens almost all the time when they have a fully healthy roster. This Nuggets team, they can flip the switch. It's very different with this new head coach that they have, this interim head coach that they have after firing Mike Malone. I think that's going to play a big part in this. But also, I think Nikola Jokic is the smartest player in this series. Now, for the Thunder, I think they have the advantage in the sense of they can match this Nuggets team in depth. They, no question, have more depth than the Nuggets. And that might win them the games in the sense of not every player on this Thunder team is going to have a bad game. It's impossible. It's impossible. Downright impossible. Just going through their roster, Oklahoma City Thunder. Um, let's see here. I'm just gonna go over people that I think can score at least 20, like at least have a 20-point game in this series. Alex Caruso, Shea, obviously, Isaiah Hartenstein, Einstein. That's three people. Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Joe, um, Kason Wallace, um, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams. um, that's like 7, 8 people who could have a 20-point game, right? And then you get into the 30-point range. Well, that's usually just Chet, Jalen Williams, J Dub, um, Kason Wallace, and the the MVP hopeful Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So I don't think there's any world where only one of these guys has a good game. There's going to be at least 2, 3 guys that has a good game, at least a good game to keep this team in it, in these games. Because this Nuggets team is going to push this Thunder team like they've never been pushed before. This is going to be the Thunder's first real challenge. It's going to be a very interesting series. I want to pick the Nuggets since I didn't pick them last series and they changed my mind. But I think this is a 7-game series. If everybody's healthy, this 7-game series, I'm going to pick the Thunder in 7 in the Western Conference semifinals. The 1-4 matchup, Thunder win in 7. The next matchup, Timberwolves Warriors, the 6-7 matchup. They play on May 6th. That's tomorrow. We're gonna talk about Rockets Warriors, like I said, but let's talk about this series, this one that's coming up. Um, the Warriors shot themselves in the foot so bad. They didn't close out the Rockets like they should have. They kind of played around with their food. They they brought it when it was do or die, but every other time they kind of just messed around. They were like, "Oh, it's just these guys. Who cares? Whatever, whatever." And they didn't take them seriously enough. I don't think that's going to be a problem in this matchup. I think they take the Timberwolves very seriously. Um, in that situation, I think I I hate to say it, but the Timberwolves have a better lineup. They have a much better lineup than the Warriors. Um, if Rudy Gobert continues, Rudy Gobert, the starting center for the Thunder, or not the Thunder, the Timberwolves, pardon me, continues this run of just at least halfway decent games where he just remembers he's the tallest guy on the floor. The Warriors have nothing to stop him. Nothing. Um, I don't think they have an answer for Anthony Edwards either. Um, the Warriors could say, well, we'll just throw Moses Moody on him. We'll throw Jimmy Butler on him. I said this when I talk about the Timberwolves every time. Anthony Edwards, their star shooting guard, has ascended. He's just ascended into this new air and this new thing. And he did have a bad last game against the Lakers. But I don't think that's gonna happen in this series. I think Ant's gonna play very well. I think the real question is, will the others play well? Will the others have enough in them to play um, this high level basketball for a second year in a row? The Timberwolves went to the Western Conference Finals last year, so they are sort of familiar with this, um, energy, with this momentum that they're carrying off of a 4-1 series win against the Lakers last series. Coming into this series, um, you are going to need Jaden McDaniels. You are going to need Julius Randle. you're going to need Nikhil Alexander Walker. You're going to need all these guys to really play their best basketball because the Warriors have Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, um, Buddy Hield. um, they have these guys, and the Timberwolves match up very well. They have a defender for every one of those guys. The Warriors do not have a defender for every one of the Timberwolves guys. I think that's really what's going to come down to. This series is going to be about defense. It's going to be about really controlling the pace. There's going to be a game where Steph Curry goes off. There's going to be a game where Anthony Edwards goes off, and then everybody. So that's 1-1 game for both teams. The other games, somebody else is going to need to come along with those guys. Somebody's going to need to come along with Steph Curry. Is it Jimmy Butler? Is it Buddy Hield? Is it another one of these guys? The Timberwolves have shown they can have these other guys. Ant can pull these guys to a point, and then the other guys can take over. It's going to be about the other guys, and it's going to be about defense. You can say that about most of these series, but I think in this one more particularly, the Warriors, the more experienced, the more um, confident. I shouldn't say confident. More. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know the word I'm looking for. But the Timberwolves are going to give them a run for their money, and I think as young as the Timberwolves are, I shouldn't even say young, as in playoff inexperience that they are, since again they've only gone to the Western Conference Finals once. The Warriors have been there numerous times. The Timberwolves are going to have to be careful not to get too high and get too low. But the Warriors can get really low. They can lose a game. It can feel like it's all over, and they can push themselves further. So I think it's going to be a very interesting series. I will say this: I think it's Timberwolves in six. I'm not sure how good this Warriors team can be. Steph Curry's banged up, um, and he's really the engine of this team. And we'll dive into that more in a minute. But let's keep pushing through this bracket. Cavaliers Pacers. This is the first series that has actually played at least one game so far. The Pacers surprisingly beat the Cavaliers. We'll dive into that game a little bit more at the end. I just want to sort of uh, revise my prediction for this series. I still think the Cavs are going to win, but I think I said like 5 or 6. I think this is going 7 now. What I saw from game one from the Pacers exercised some demons, beating the Bucks in the fashion that they did. Um, Tyrese Halliburton has moved up a level. He is playing at I shouldn't say superstar level, but an all-star, all world player. He's been playing really good. So yeah, Cavs in 7, I think. We'll talk about that series when we get there. Knicks Celtics. A very interesting series. A very very. I don't think I delved into this too much, and I think I said like Celtics in like 5 or 6. um, Considering the amount of rest the Celtics got, considering they do still have some banged up guys, um, the Knicks are pretty banged up too. Gimme, I think I said again. I think I said Celtics in like 6 or 5 or 6. I think I'm gonna say Celtics in 6. I think that Madison Square Garden crowd for the Knicks is gonna help them get one game. Um, I think that I think I said this in my other video was the Knicks have enough to match up with the Celtics. It's just a matter of how many games can I get from those guys? How many games can I get from um, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby for the Knicks? How many? Because you're going to need those guys to guard Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown every single game. There cannot be a game where you have a lapse, where you have a bad game. Those guys are going to need to show up. Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm not worried about Karl-Anthony Towns at all. I think he's had a great playoff run so far. I think he has a lot of heart this playoff run. I think he's going to continue that. Jalen Brunson a little banged up. I think the Celtics are going to try to really hone in on Jalen Brunson. for on the Knicks, and it's gonna be a rough series for Jalen Brunson. He's gonna get picked on a lot. Um, so yeah, Celtics in 6. So yeah, that's my preview for the Eastern and Western Conference semifinals. Let's track back a little bit to talk about this Denver Nuggets Clippers game where the Nuggets took home a game 7, 120 points to the LA Clippers 101. We're not going to talk about the stats too much. I just want to talk about a little bit of the narrative and post this game, and obviously do a little bit of a retrospective and a what's to come for the Clippers next season and this offseason, all that, because I've been trying to do that for all the teams. I think it's interesting to do it about. Um, I did pick the Clippers to win this game. I don't know why I did that. I thought like there was going to be some miracle, some like not miracle, some like I thought somebody was going to have an out of body experience on the Clippers. And genuinely, I thought that guy was James Harden. I put James Harden on. What did I put James? I think I put James Harden on All NBA second team. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Uh, I can't find it. I think I did put him on All NBA second team, All NBA third team. Um, but again, um, James Harden, man, did not show up. He did not show up. He pulled a Houdini. He just disappeared. Talk about the numbers a little bit. James Harden, 7 points, 13 assists, 5 rebounds, no personal fouls, 2 turnovers, 1 block, 2 steals, 1 of 4 from three, 2 of 8 from field goal. Um, Compared to his teammates, he had he had the was this the not he had the least amount of points of anybody that played 30 plus minutes. Yeah, he had the least amount of points of anybody 30 plus minutes. Um, Norm Powell, 9 points. This is the starting lineup. Kawhi Leonard, your other All Star, who actually sort of did show up, 22 points. Derek Jones, 12 points. Ivica Zubac, um, 10 points, 14 rebounds. Tried his best. Man, James Harden. At this point, I don't know what to say about James. I've never been the biggest James Harden fan. I had the pleasure of watching James Harden go against um, the Warriors when they had Kevin Durant in the mid to late 2000 teens. And this is a routine for him. This is something that always happens. It always happens. Um, he is locked every playoffs for a stinker. He'll stink up the whole building. You need to get the fumigation squad in. You need to get the bomb squad in. Um, it's a stinker, and I don't know what it is about James that just turns in his brain. He's like he just shits the bed. I don't know. I saw somebody actually like seriously saying like he might need to go see a sports psychologist because nobody knows. No, like the thing is like this isn't. This guy sounds so crazy for a guy like James Harden, but 7 points, 13 rebounds, 1 block, two steals, minimal turnovers, isn't a bad game for a lot of guys. It isn't a bad game, but for James Harden, the All Star, the one of the greatest shooting guards of all time, um, this is not enough. It is not enough. It has never been enough. You have never given enough. Um, I think in my mind, in my mind's eye, I can see maybe 2 James Harden playoff signature moments. I think he had one good game for the Nets. Oh no, pardon. Or was that for the Sixers? I think it was for the Sixers. Yes, it was for the Sixers. Pardon me. One good game for the Sixers, and then he had like he had the one this series. No, he had like he had a good game this series. I think. Oh jeez. Now you got me. Now you got me looking at. Oh, yeah, he had a 28-point game the game before. Yeah. And he had 32 the first game in a loss against this team. Yeah, against the Nuggets. Yeah, 32-point game. Yeah, so in my mind's eye, I can see those 2 games and be like, okay, these are good games. This 9-point game, well, not a 9-point, 7-point game for James Harden is not enough. It's not enough. Um, you need to give more. I don't want to hear, oh, well, he was passing the ball, he was getting double teamed. I'd rather James put his head down, go to the basket, and throw up 20 shots and only make 5 of them. Because at least it shows me you're trying. Only get 8 attempts and four threes up is not enough. Is not enough. James Harden is one of the biggest playoff sinkers. Sink, like down, like the ship's going down, like a clipper ship, is going down ever. And one of the biggest playoff risers, Kawhi Leonard, gave it what he could. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. But at Kawhi's age, what's Kawhi, 30 something? Kawhi Leonard, he's probably like 30, 32, 32. 33. He's 33 years old. At 33 years old, this guy needs help. He needs help, dude. He needs more from his other co-star in James Harden, and James just wasn't there. He just didn't show up. Just didn't show up. Didn't show up. Guys who did show up off the bench. Kobe Brown, 13 points. Made it a game at some point. Tried to get this team back into it. Couldn't do it. Bogdan Bogdanovic, 12. Couldn't do it. And it just wasn't enough. You look at this. You look at the final score. 120 Denver to the Clippers 101. If James Harden has 20 points, you're that much closer. I'm not saying they win the game, but at least maybe you lose 118 to the Denver Nuggets 120. Maybe it's not an ass whoop. I don't know. For the Nuggets, cruising along. The last 2 games, I think, really. They were firing all cylinders. I said in my last video before this game. This is the team I like when Denver plays like this. Go through the numbers real quick. Aaron Gordon, 22 points. Michael Porter Jr., 15. Nikola Jokic, 16. Jamal Murray, 16. Christian Braun, 21. Russell Westbrook, 16. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic didn't even do anything. They didn't even have to do all the work. They said the other guys can do it. They did it and they won. That's pretty much it. Already did the preview for them in the next series. So congrats to the Nuggets for being the Clippers. To talk about the Clippers, what do they do this offseason? I don't know. It's a tough situation to be in. You try to be as competitive as you can be. This is probably one of the best seasons they've had in a while, and this is sort of the unsanctimonious end. Kawhi Leonard does get a healthy offseason this offseason. So he's going to be back in full health at 34 years old next year, which is good. But the window for this team has never been fully open, and it's never really been what's the word I'm looking for? It's never really been there for them. The window just hasn't. They've never had enough. They've tried different combinations and variations of this team dating back to like 2018, 2019, before Kawhi. They've had very many variations of this team, and with a team with a 32-year-old or 33-year-old Kawhi Leonard and a 35-year-old James Harden, they might just ride this out, and this might be enough for the Clippers to make the playoffs. And that's what they do. I don't know. It's an awkward situation to be in because you look at the team, you see the age of the 2 stars, you look at the other guys on the team. Ivica Zubac has already been in trade rumors, not from Clippers fans, but other teams wanting Ivica Zubac. This team is sort of built to compete right now, and they just can't compete. They just don't have enough. I think even if James had a good game and they're in the semis right now, they don't have enough to get to the finals. They don't. Kawhi Leonard's not 30 anymore. James Harden's not 30 anymore. They're a little bit past their primes, and they don't have a really young guy, in their prime to carry the burden. And then these guys show up whenever. Kawhi Leonard's that guy, and he's giving you 22 points, and it's not enough. I'm not trying to exonerate or excuse Kawhi Leonard's performance. You could say, oh well, he needed to do more. He did, but he played 33 minutes. He didn't shoot the best, but he tried. I really can't be too mad at him. It's just the construction of this roster is is competable, is comparable to other teams, but it just doesn't have that. Um, they deserve to lose. The Nuggets were the better team. And every other team that's left, even in the East, I think they're better than two of these teams. Maybe one of these teams. They might not be better than any of these teams, to be quite honest. Thunder better, Nuggets are better, Timberwolves are better, Warriors are better, I guess. The Warriors didn't get bounced in the first round. Call them better. Um, Cavs are better. Pacers, Pacers are looking better than the Clippers. Knicks are better, and the reigning champion Celtics are better. That's it. That's my spiel about the Clippers. Moving on to this Warriors Rockets game. As a Steph Curry fan, as a I guess a Warriors fan, I'm more of a Steph Curry fan. I've always said that, but I'm a Warriors fan by association per se. I've watched a lot of these Warriors Rockets playoff games. I've watched a lot of them, and this is probably the most um, worried I've been about the Warriors trying to beat the Rockets. This is a completely different iteration of the Rockets. Um, again, dating back to the mid to late 2000 teens, um, the Warriors and the James Harden Rockets went at it. Um, and that was a whole saga. And then they both went into sort of a rebuild. The Warriors won in the meantime, um, and the Rockets were bad. And then the Rockets this year, they were the higher seed. They were the 2 seed this year. They played their butts off. This series was one of the most entertaining series I've experienced in a little while. Um, and this game was nuts. This was a nuts game. To go through some of the numbers very quickly here, Draymond Green 16 points, Jimmy Butler 20 points, Steph Curry 22 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Did not play his best game. Hit some shots when it mattered. Brendan Podziemski 9 points. That's the whole starting lineup except for the hero of the night, the man on the mission, the guy who really put the Rockets to bed. Um, Buddy Hield, 33 points. Leading score for both teams? Question mark. Leading score for both teams tied a playoff Warrior high, I believe. Um, Playoff high. That's not right. That's not right. He hit a lot of threes. Is what I'm trying to get at. He hit 9 out of the 11 threes he's attempted, 12 or 15 overall from field goal. Buddy Hield um, saved the Warriors season. He really did. He, how do I say this? Uh, he's good for one of these games. He's good for one of these games in the regular season, which I think he did have, and then he's good for one of these games in the playoffs. Was high scoring, just making all the threes he touches, games, and he was doing it in such a fashion where the Rockets just started scrambling. Like they literally didn't expect Buddy Hield to have a game like this, and I don't think Warriors fans expected Buddy Hield to have a game like this. But he is good for one of these games, one playoff run, uh, and he he did it in a moment where it looked like the Warriors were just out of offense. They couldn't get anything to go. They were playing some decent defense. It was sort of at a standstill in the game, and Buddy Hield just started lighting them up. Just a three, 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 three. Missed one. Then made like two more, and he really saved the Warriors' ass. Um, I remember at the start of this game, he didn't start making these threes till late in the second quarter. I want to make that very clear. And then he made one. He didn't make any in the third. I don't think. Maybe attempted a few, didn't make any, and then made one or two really big ones in the fourth. Um, I saw the starting lineup. when they flashed it on the screen, and I said, "Why the hell is Buddy Hield starting? Get him out the game." And I ate my words. I ate my words. I thought Moses Moody should have started. He had some good minutes. Did not make a single basket. Did not have a single point made. Moses Moody played some pretty decent defense. But Buddy Hield deserved to start. I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to play next series, but he got the game he needed. He got the game so the Warriors didn't blow a 3-1 lead, and he played phenomenally well. Steph Curry also helped in that fourth quarter. Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler did all they could defensively. Had some great rebounds. There were some rebounds that Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler got this series that were so needed, that were so crucial, that probably in the moment of the game you didn't really realize, but looking back on it, you're like, wow, that rebound is huge. That rebound was really big because we were getting killed on those boards by Steven Adams. Um, and just to tag this last thing about the Warriors on, um, Jonathan Kuminga, man, Jonathan Kuminga, Warriors forward, a guy who didn't play barely at all this whole series, didn't play a lot of the second half of the regular season, because the acquisition of Jimmy Butler and the current status of Draymond Green. Both guys don't make or take a lot of threes. Jonathan Kuminga is not known as a 3-point shooter either. And being a forward, as Jonathan Kuminga is playing the small forward and the power forward, sort of didn't have any minutes. He couldn't take any minutes from anybody. And with the emergence of Quentin Post, who this game only played 3 minutes, um, who was big for the Warriors at certain points during the regular season and this postseason or the first round, Jonathan Kuminga couldn't find any minutes. Um, and Steve Kerr, before Game 7, didn't rule out the possibility of him playing. He did play what game is this? Game 3 and Game 2, logging a combined, what is this? Like 40 minutes, maybe 43 minutes a game, 43 minutes over the course of those first 2 games. Um, Only scored in double digits once, made 2 threes. That was the game Jimmy Butler got injured, I think. Yeah, Game 2. He looked bad, man. He looked so bad this last game. He looked awful. He looked god awful. And I saw him I almost said log in. I saw him check in, and I said, "What the hell is happening?" Because it was Jimmy Butler, it was Jonathan Kuminga, and it was Draymond Green, and I said, "Oh no!" And then I proceeded to watch him play, and he missed a layup, and he did some other dumb shit, and I continuously said, "Oh no!" It was bad. He played 7 minutes, took 4 shots, took 1 3, did not make anything, had 1 rebound, 1 turnover, 1 steal, and then checked out of the game and didn't touch the court again. It was really bad. It was really bad. Jonathan Kuminga's time as a Warrior is probably at an end. I think that is not a secret anymore. I think he's just been outed. He's just been out of the rotation. He's been um, out of out of momentum. His time is done. As a Warriors, what was he? He's in his third season. He was a first round pick. He was the seventh pick by the Warriors in 2020, 2021. He's 22 years old, and I think it's over. I think he did. I think they do try to sign him to a contract and to do a sign and trade with him, but I think it's over for Jonathan Kuminga as Warrior. He might play a little bit next series, but man, it was bad. Those minutes were really bad. It literally offended my eyeballs. How bad Jonathan Kuminga was. Anyways, I've jinxed myself yet again. We're at the 34-minute mark. I'm gonna keep this video short. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the Rockets a little bit. Um, just a little bit. Um, this iteration of this Rockets team was great. I think they made a lot of strides. I think they surprised everybody. They surprised me. I thought they would be good. I didn't think they'd be this good. Second seed in the West, good. Um, that being said, I'm gonna name some names here, right? Guys who are really important to this team, and then we'll name some guys who didn't really get a lot of burn, who I think are really good. Um, Ahmed Thompson. I'm not ready to say future superstar or star or whatever. I think he's good. I think he's athletic. I think he has a lot of these intangibles. I think he has a lot to work on too, though. Played very well this series. Um, a kid from the Bay Area, getting to go back home for a couple games, play in the Bay Area, play against a team he probably grew up watching. Great stuff from Ahmed. 24 points this last game. One block, one steal, three assists, nine rebounds. No turnovers. Two personal fouls. Really good stuff. 37 minutes. Dylan Brooks, the vet who you brought in, who really pushed these guys to the next level, had some good moments, had some good shots that were made that were needed. Alperen Şengün, 20 points this game, 14 rebounds. I said this series that he was going to be the issue. He was going to need to play big, and he played big. I think after Draymond blocked that shot in game 6, or was it game 6? No, it was one of those games where he blocked the game-winning shot. Um, I think that zapped a little bit of his confidence. He wasn't as aggressive. He had some of these soft European like baby hooks, and it didn't look the best. I think he needs to be a bit more aggressive. I think when you're a European big, you get labeled as soft and you get labeled as this, and I think it really did show through. I think he needs to be a little more aggressive. He had some times where he would run the floor and he would fake, and the Warriors defender would fly by and he would just dunk the ball. That's the stuff you need more of. Um, Great stuff for Alperin. Fred VanVleet, another vet who you brought in, who had one really good game, 17 points this game. Really, I didn't really feel like Fred VanVleet was out there. Nevertheless, you brought in this vet point guard who got this team to the next level, who you really needed in this series because he was a consummate professional, and because the young guard that you drafted, Jalen Green, had one good game, and then like his predecessor at the shooting guard spot, James Harden, um, stinky, stinky games. Lots of stinky, stinky, stinky games. I'll repeat it, just stinkers. I'm not gonna go through his game logs because just know he had one 30-point game and then one double-digit game, and then single-digit games for the rest of the series. The 7-game series. 8 points this game, one block, four rebounds, one assist, zero personal fouls, zero turnovers. Um, I was never the biggest Jalen Green fan. Anybody who came out of that G League Ignite NBA experiment, the defunct G League Ignite NBA experience, I've never looked at as an NBA professional, in the sense of like being a professional, taking this game seriously, really noticing, hey, I'm bad this game. I need to do something else. Um, he's literally just a microwave guy. He's a scorer. He's just out there sometimes. This is probably Jalen Green's last game in a Houston Rockets jersey. He will probably be moved this offseason. Another guy who I think is not supremely better than Jalen Green, who I would fight to keep, but will probably have to give up in any sort of trade this team wants to do. Jabari Smith only hit one three, had a lot of threes made this series. Not at a good clip, but made some important ones. I really liked what Jabari Smith brought. He only played 12 minutes. If I go look at his game logs here really quickly, um, this is not the game logs. Here's the game logs. He never played more than 30 minutes. There's a 25, 26, and 25-minute game in here. He had two double-digit games with 11 and 12. That was in game 3 and game 1. Um, I would fight to keep him. I think he can improve. I think he would look really good next to Şengün. He didn't start a lot this series. Understandably, I would have started him, but I understand why Coach Ime Udoka did not start him. He would rather have Şengün and Adams out there. Um, in this game 7, the Warriors did figure out that big lineup that the Rockets were running. Finally, um, Tari Eason got some burn this series. Um, Cam Whitmore, Jayshawn Tate, DNPs. They've gotten a lot of DNPs this series. I name all these guys. I give all this synopsis because I am fearful that the way the NBA is and how fast it moves, this might be the only iteration of this Rockets team that is in the playoffs. This iteration of this team was great. There was a lot of problems with this team. There was a lot of offensive problems, and I think what Coach Ime Udoka has done with this team is take them to another level defensively. Obviously, with Ahmed Thompson, and you bring in a guy like Dylan Brooks, and you have a guy like Jabari Smith, who is a good defender. You bring in Steven Adams, who came off an injury, who was really big this series. I don't think anybody thought he'd be this big in this series with the offensive rebounding. A lot of these guys might not be here next year because they won't sign him back or they might get traded. The idea of Kevin Durant, of Giannis has been floated around. I am more partial to the thought of after seeing this series and what this team needs to go get Kevin Durant because they need more instant offense. It became very stagnant. It became, hey, if we can't get to the basket, we only make a couple threes, we lose the game. Kevin Durant provides 3-level scoring. He won't need to go to the basket as much. If obviously Kevin Durant won't have to be the primary defender on the other team's best player, especially as age. That would be an Ahmed Thompson assignment going forward. But this iteration of this team might be the last of it. Next season, it might be Ahmed Thompson and a star player. That might be the Rockets in the future. And then a bunch of guys. If you can keep Jabari Smith, I would keep Jabari Smith. I think if you can get a Kevin Durant, I'm not too partial to Giannis. I think Giannis is too redundant on this team. I think Ime Udoka would like Giannis because Ime Udoka is a defensive-minded coach. I don't think he would fit as well next to Ahmed Thompson if that's what you're going for. I think a lineup of we'll say this as in the free agency market, a point guard could be Fred VanVleet again. Ahmed Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Jabari Smith, and then a 5-man because you would have to give up Şengün in any sort of deal. I think that's a great lineup. I think that's really good. Is it championship? I don't know. I think you might have to wait another season and really figure out the rest of the team. But if you can get it all done in one offseason and you can really put together a team around Kevin Durant and Ahmed Thompson and hopefully a Jabari Smith Jr., I think you do it. And as much as I hate the Rockets, as much as I've had to watch them, I think this is the most promising they've looked in a while. And their owner, Tillman Fertitta, has always been a man of go get it now. We can't wait because he's gotten his ass whooped by the Warriors so many times. And I think he wants an iteration of this team that can compete with the Warriors. And I think if this Rockets team brings in a superstar, they will finally beat the Warriors. It's been 10 years of domination by the Warriors on the Rockets. And this series showed that this Rockets team is ready. I think they need a superstar. I would be more partial to a Kevin Durant, to a Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker is unrealistic, but nevertheless, I think that is better. But if the Suns want too much, go get Giannis. Just do it. Just do it. Because the window's open and the window's closed. I think the window's open. I think the Rockets, they do this series next year, this exact same series next year. I think the Rockets will get it. That's high praise. That's high praise, man. Video's running a little long here. We could talk about Pacers Cleveland another time. We'll talk about them tomorrow. How about that? All right. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I've done it once more. I've jinxed myself. If I ever say, hey, let me keep this video short, just know it's going to be 30 minutes or more. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers.